Well, the problem of the nation's disappearing TV may be solved after all, for Senator Shunpike has just appointed our hero, Rocky, to be in charge of the investigation.
Hey! Thank you, and I'll do my best to track down the culprit.
It looked as if it might be a short track, though, for at that moment an iron lamppost trembled, tilted, and toppled over right at Rocky. Fortunately for our hero, Senator Shunpike chose that same moment to begin his farewell address.
And now, friends, I must bid you adieu as...
Boy, when he says adieu, he really does.
Congratulations, Senator. Best speech you ever made.
As the senator was whisked away on a stretcher, Rocky and Bullwinkle examined the fallen lamppost.
No doubt about it, Bullwinkle. This post was bitten clear through.
True.
But who could have done it?
A beaver?
Through an iron post.
An eager beaver.
No, it has to be some unknown creature.
Yeah, like that 6-foot mouse I saw t'other night.
6-foot mouse?
Sure.
And Bullwinkle finally told Rocky about his meeting a few nights before with a huge metal mouse. A mouse that immediately sent him to dreamland.
But why didn't you tell me before?
I didn't think you'd believe me.
I don't, but it sure helps the plot. Well, now how can we catch him?
How about a mousetrap like this?
No, that's too small. But hey, Bullwinkle, you got it.
Ooh, not really. It's got me.
No, listen.
So a little while later, following Rocky's plan, the boys had constructed a huge mousetrap, big enough to catch a 6-foot mouse.
Boy, I'd hate to have my pinkies caught in that thing.
Now where'll we put it?
After a lot of thought, our heroes wheeled their monster mousetrap to an old house surrounded by a high wall on the outskirts of town.
But nobody's lived in there for years, Rock.
Sure, so it ought to be full of mice.
And maybe one of them is 6 foot tall, huh?
Right. Now you put the bait in the trap.
Bait?
Sure. I brought along a little snack for that metal muncher.
Snack? Rock, that there is a 200-pound, you'll pardon the expression, dumbbell.
Well, I figure he won't be able to resist it.
Okay, I'll put it on the trigger.
Don't drop it, Bullwinkle.
Drop it? You must think I'm a plenty clumsy oaf.
No, I don't.
Well, I am. Look out!
And as Bullwinkle fell, the dumbbell flew through the air and landed on the trigger. And Rocky, caught by the crossbar, was sent hurtling through the air.
Rocky, are you all right?
But an ominous silence hung over the old house.
You hurt? I gotta get in there.
And the mighty moose hurled himself at the high iron gates. Alas, they held fast. He then cut down a small tree and fashioned a crude vaulting pole to get over the wall. But he hadn't figured on the softness of the marshy ground around Bleakley Mansion.
Oh, Baz Faz.
Then, after exhausting every other possibility, Bullwinkle began to think. The strain was terrific.
Ooh.
And impossible though it seemed, he got an idea.
The mousetrap, that's what.
Yes, in a twinkling, Bullwinkle had reset the mousetrap, perched himself on the end of the crossbar, and tossed a pebble at the trigger.
Boy, that was a keen idea.
Yes, it was a marvelous idea, except for one thing.
What's that? What's that?
Well, obviously the window was too small for Bullwinkle to go through.
Yeah, obviously.
Well, will Bullwinkle be able to extricate himself?
I will as soon as I get loose.
And what has happened to Rocky? Don't miss our next episode, Window Panes or the Moose Trap.
And now it's time...
Time for that jolly juggler, Bullwinkle.
Oh, dear.
3 at once. 1, 2...
And now here's a feature you're sure to like.
3...
Once upon a time, there was a king named Midas. He was a very greedy king indeed. The one thing he loved most in the world was
gold.
The one thing he had the most of was
Gold!
and the one thing he wanted more of was
Gold! Gold! Gold!
So he sent his tax collectors into the kingdom to do his gold gathering for him. As the people grew poorer and poorer from being taxed, Midas grew richer and richer. Finally, the people were reduced to living on a diet of turnips. As a result, King Midas began to get the funny feeling that people didn't like him very much.
I need to do something to make people like me. Then I can tax them even more.
So the king called a meeting of his advisors, Bobble, Bangle, Bead, and Benson.
Gentlemen, I must be made popular.
Well, sire, I'm just talking off the top of my thatch.
What is it, Benson?
Well, what about lowering the taxes? We could... That wasn't it, huh?
The next day, the king called another meeting of his advisors, Bobble, Bangle, and Bead.
Well, let's put this idea on the rack, see how it stretches, KM. We'll point out your warm human qualities.
What warm human qualities?
Well, you must have some.
Like what?
Dogs. Everybody likes dogs.
I hate dogs!
I can see it now. Heralds all over the kingdom, posters on every wall. Midas loves mutts.
Hear ye, hear ye! This day, King Midas will free all dogs in the royal dog pound.
Sure enough, as the people watched, the king let all the dogs loose.
Maybe he's not all bad. Animals like him.
Your Majesty, would you like to pet Tweaky here?
Oh, how nice. A lovely pussycat. Pussycat!
And the king was instantly buried in a snarling mass of dogs.
Get off, you mutts! Get off! Oh, I hate dogs!
Just as I thought. A fake.
And the people once more pelted the king with turnips. Before, they had just disliked him. Now they despised him. So the next day, Midas called another meeting of his advisors, Bobble and Bangle.
All right, now what?
Well, let's put this in a crossbow and see how it shoots. Midas, you'll slay a dragon.
Me?
You.
Oh, good!
Hear ye, hear ye! King to fight dragon! Maybe there's something good about Midas after all.
Well, on the appointed day, King Midas strode forth to do battle with the fire-breathing dragon, which, of course, wasn't a real dragon at all.
Avaunt, foul fiend!
Unfortunately, as Midas swung, the head flew off his axe and felled a nearby tree.
Another fake!
So the people again let fly with turnips.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
By now, they didn't just despise the king, they actually hated him. Next day, the king called a meeting of his advisor, Bobble.
Well, Bubble, what now?
Well, sire, let's just throw this in the moat, see if it floats. What about giving you the golden touch?
Isn't that expensive?
Well, not if you just use this spray gun and this cheap gold paint.
Good thinking, Bubble.
The word spread in a flash.
King has gold touch! Midas 24-carat monarch! Big free demonstration!
People came from all over to watch the king turn things into gold. Hats, canes, bushes, even rocks.
That's gold?
Looks like gold?
Yeah.
Feels like gold?
Yeah.
The king says it's gold?
Yeah.
It's gold.
Hooray for King Midas!
Well, the king sprayed more and more things until everything in the kingdom looked as if it were made of gold. Midas, of course, was very popular, but since everybody had more make-believe gold than he could use, gold began to lose its value. Soon, it took a wheelbarrow full of gold just to buy one turnip. But back in his castle, the king was very happy indeed.
Bubble, you've done it. The people like me, and I'm still the richest man in the kingdom.
Not quite, sire.
Huh?
The country has gone off the gold standard.
What? Well, what is the standard now?
Turnips.
Turnips?
Yes, turnips it was. And of course, everybody had some turnips. Everybody except King Midas. With nothing but gold, he was the poorest man in his own kingdom.
You mean I'm broke, Bubble?
Looks like, sire.
So the next day, the king called a meeting of his advisors. And of course, nobody was there but him. Today, King Midas lives in a very modest castle on a little side street. He still has lots and lots of friends, and of course, he still has the golden touch.
While Well, Bullwinkle was really up in the air last time. For in an effort to reach Rocky in creepy old Bleakley House, he sat on their giant mousetrap and fired himself over the wall. Unfortunately, the window he was heading for proved too small for him, and he got stuck fast high above the ground. Meanwhile, inside the house, a dazed Rocky was peering about in the gloom. Suddenly, a huge form appeared in front of him.
Is that you, Bullwinkle? Your teeth are chattering. You got a cold?
But of course, when Rocky struck a match to find his way out, it wasn't Bullwinkle at all. Instead...
Hokey smoke, it's a 6-foot mouse!
And Rocky bravely eluded the clutches of the strange creature, which then began to chase him from room to room of the old mansion. Rocky made a game try, but soon found himself trapped.
Uh-oh, there's no way out of this room. The window's blocked up. Looks like an old mattress.
Little did Rocky know that the old mattress was in reality his pal Bullwinkle, still stuck in the tiny window. Closer and closer came the monstrous mouse, and then suddenly turned away.
Gee, maybe he's leaving.
No such luck. The weird creature was merely getting into position to use its sharp tail as a spear. Straight at Rocky came the sharp point, but at the last second he was able to leap aside. Unfortunately, Bullwinkle wasn't.
No!
Little did he know, but that sharp jab was a blessing in disguise.
Don't worry, I got the point all right.
Inside the mansion, the mouse monster made another backwards lunge at Rocky, and this time, as the agile squirrel slipped out of the way, the pointed tail crashed into the wall.
Rocky, come on out of there!
It's okay, Bullwinkle. I got him caught.
Sure enough, with its tail driven deep into the wall, the enormous creature was stuck fast and couldn't get away. Then, as our boys watched in amazement, the monster's struggle slowed and stopped.
What happened, Rock?
I'm not sure, Bullwinkle, but I think he ran down.
Swell, let's us run out.
But as our heroes started to escape from the house, beady eyes were watching them closely. Then as they went down the hallway...
Looky there, Rock.
Those are paintings of the old Bleakley ancestors, Bullwinkle.
Ancestors?
They sure look alike, don't they?
Yeah, all except that last one.
Bullwinkle, that's a picture of the monster mouse.
Yeah, not very good either.
Well, how do you mean?
It don't look real. It ought to face more this way and... Uh-oh.
Bullwinkle, it is real.
And Bullwinkle snatched his hand away just in time. In another instant, the mouse had disappeared.
Gee, how many of those things are there?
Even one of them is quite a few.
Bullwinkle, this is a secret passageway.
Well, the secret's safe with me. Let's get out of here.
And our boys scrambled through the opening in the wall, but no sooner were they inside than the opening closed behind them.
That sounds awful final.
Sure is dark in here.
Yeah, I can't see my hand in front of my face.
You don't have your hand in front of your face.
Well, I said I couldn't see it.
Look ahead there, Bullwinkle.
Sure enough, at the end of the passage, light shone through a crack in the door.
Sounds like voices in there, Bullwinkle.
Yeah.
Put your ear to the door and listen.
Unfortunately, the only way Bullwinkle could put his ear to the door was to put his antlers through the door, which is just what he did.
Run, Bullwinkle!
I can't. My head bone is stuck.
And in a moment, the door was flung wide, dragging Bullwinkle into the room.
Hokey smoke, Bullwinkle, look!
Well, what dreadful sight has driven the roses from Rocky's cheeks? We'll see next time in Doorway to Danger or Doom in the Room.
And now for all you co-eds who wish to become scholars, here's Mr. Know-It-All.
Hello out there, scholarly maids. Today's subject is how to get into the movies without buying a ticket. The first approach is to go directly to the manager and say, "Where's my pass?" Unruffled by that minor setback, we try phase 2, which involves a disguise. Hello there, I'm Flo Ziegfeld. How's my show going tonight? Phase 3. Seeking out the location of the freight elevator, we then proceed down into the basement, where we shall then proceed up to the balcony. That's the deepest basement I ever saw.
Is gate-crashing moose again?
Hello, Mr. Theater Manager. I should like to apply for a job as a usher.
What experience you got?
I've been in the dark most of my life.
Is good enough. Course, job don't pay much.
How much?
Bag of popcorn and all ticket stubs you can find.
It's a deal! Donning the usherette's uniform, we then proceed to our post in the mezzanine. Going through a door, we find ourselves... Oop. Wrong door. Hello, Mr. Theater Manager. I took the wrong...
Where's your ticket?
I don't need a ticket. I'm your new usher.
Don't need no new usher. Just hired new usher.
That did it. I wouldn't go in that theater if they gave me the place.
Why not?
I just happened to notice. I've seen this picture 3 times already.
Hello out there, Peabody, Sherman, and Wayback here.
Where to today, Mr. Peabody?
Paris, Sherman.
Illinois?
Paris, France. To the laboratory of Europe's most distinguished biologist and chemist, Louis Pasteur.
The date, Mr. Peabody?
1888, Sherman. No sooner was the Wayback Machine set into motion than Sherman and I were catapulted back into history. We joined Louis Pasteur in an unusual experiment.
Please, Fifi, come down and give me 1 quart of milk. A pint. A thimbleful. Sacre bleu, it is hopeless.
Your cow is obstinate, Monsieur Pasteur.
Oui, and unless she gives milk, I cannot conclude my experiment on Louisization.
Louisization?
That is what I call my process.
Why not call it pasteurization?
Ah, that's not bad. Very well. Pasteurization.
Why won't Fifi give milk, Mr. Pasteur?
Well, for one thing, she does not think she is a cow. Say move for the gentleman, Fifi.
Fifi sounds like a rooster.
Not only sounds, I found these in her stall this morning. Eggs. Pure, unadulterated eggs.
There's more here than meets the cow, Monsieur Pasteur. Just then, the door opened.
Monsieur Pasteur?
Oui?
I am the director of the Faculty of Sciences. Are you prepared to conduct your experiment on Louisization?
Pasteurization, monsieur. No, I am not prepared.
I cannot give you any more time. You have until tomorrow morning.
Without milk, I will never be ready.
Then let's go out and get some.
It seemed like a good idea, but unfortunately, the 4-H Club of France was holding a conclave in Paris, and when those children drank milk,
I couldn't buy 1 quart.
and all the cows I came across were in a state of exhaustion.
Then the responsibility lies with Fifi. She must perform.
We kept Fifi under observation, but her behavior was normal. That is, until the sun went down.
She's heading for the door.
Quick, stop her!
No, let's see where she goes. There followed a fantastic tour of Paris. From the top of the Eiffel Tower, through the sewers beneath the city, and finally in a dark alley on the left bank of the Seine, Fifi entered a cellar.
Perhaps she paints at night. Nothing that cow does would surprise me.
Keep your voices low. Unless I'm wrong, and I never am, Fifi is keeping a rendezvous.
Look into my eyes. You are a chicken. You are not a cow. You are a chicken. You will not give milk to Pasteur. You may lay an egg or two, but you will not give milk.
That man is hypnotizing Fifi.
It is my stepbrother, Gaston. He is in showbiz.
A hypnotist?
The greatest, monsieur. But why is he doing this? Does he hate milk?
You will return to Pasteur's laboratory as though you had never been away. But you will not give milk.
Oh, yes, she will.
Louis!
Your scheme won't work, Gaston.
What scheme, monsieur? This cow wandered in and...
Enough! Obviously, you were jealous of Pasteur's success as a biologist. You knew of his experiments on pasteurization.
Louisization.
No, we changed that.
So you figured if he couldn't get milk, his experiment would fail.
I don't know who you are, monsieur, but you are right. However, there is nothing you can do, because I will hypnotize all of you into thinking you are canaries.
Focusing his evil eye, Gaston prepared to do his evil work.
You are canaries. You are not what you are.
Already, Sherman and Pasteur were beginning to fall prey to Gaston's hypnotic trance. That's when I pulled out my sunglasses and quickly shielded my eyes.
You are a canary, a little teensy-weensy canary.
Of course, Gaston was unaware the dark glasses acted as a reflector. His trance simply bounced back where it came from.
A canary, a little canary who... Tweet, 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 tweet.
That ended Gaston's little game. He was given some seed and placed in a cell. Freed from Gaston's power, Fifi made up for lost time by furnishing Pasteur with enough milk to last a month. Relieved, the master chemist returned to his experiment, as Sherman and I prepared to return home.
What a great man Mr. Pasteur was.
Yes, Sherman. He gave us a wonderful salad.
Salad, Mr. Peabody?
Those shrimps on that plate, Sherman. Haven't you ever heard of Shrimp Louis?
time, you remember, our heroes had charged down a secret passageway in the old Bleakley mansion following a 6-foot metal munching mouse. Then, coming upon a closed door, Bullwinkle had tried to put his ear to it to hear what was going on, and promptly got his head stuck. Suddenly, the door was thrown open, and Bullwinkle was pulled into the room. And through the open door, Rocky saw a sight that made him blanch with fright.
Hokey smoke! The room's full of mice, and every one of them is 6 feet high.
In a trice, our heroes were seized and hustled by the enormous rodents into a large hall.
Where do you suppose we're going, Rock?
They must be taking us to their leader. Look!
Yes, there on the wall was a framed portrait.
Our leader, the Big Cheese.
Now, where have I seen that face before?
Didn't there used to be a club on the TV that...
No, that was somebody else.
The ears look familiar as though...
But just then a curtain parted at the end of the room.
Bullwinkle, it's him!
Him who?
Their leader, the Big Cheese.
Yeah. He sure is a little rat, isn't he?
So, you have fallen into our mousetrap, eh?
That voice. Haven't you heard it somewhere, Bullwinkle?
Well, I haven't been hanging around many rat holes lately.
What are you going to do with us, Mr. Big Cheese?
What do you do with all us mice?
You mean?
Of course. We call exterminator. Oh, Herman!
And the biggest mouse of all lumbered forward, his stainless steel teeth glittering wickedly.
You got it straight, Herman? You said it. Gentlemen, meet Herman the Vermin Exterminator.
But why exterminate us?
Because you might interfere with our big plan.
What big plan is that?
Plan to take over whole U.S. of hay.
What?
And as our boys listened horrified, the Big Cheese outlined the fiendish plan for conquering the entire nation. The key step was the destruction of all television antennas in the country, to be gobbled up by a horde of metal-munching mice.
But why for all that?
Don't you see beauty of plan? Everybody goes to some other country where they got television. Country is left deserted, then we move in.
But that's dirty pool.
There's another kind pool.
Don't worry, Bullwinkle. People aren't going to leave the country just because the TV breaks down.
Silly kid.
And the Big Cheese showed our heroes actual photographs of people standing in long lines at railroad terminals, airports, bus depots.
I just can't believe it, Bullwinkle.
Yeah, they're gone without us.
No, I mean they're deserting their country.
Well, even us rats leave sinking ships, you know.
Gee, you can't believe in anything anymore.
Yeah, anything.
Okay, let's go, Herman.
And our heroes trudged out disconsolately, followed by the huge exterminator. But they would have been even more shocked had they been able to remain behind with the Big Cheese, for when they had left the room, he reached up, grabbed hold of his ears, and lifted his head off to reveal... But no.
But yes. Boris Badenov, world's champion of good Nick, at your service.
Well, are these two really planning to do away with all TV?
What's the matter? Weren't you listening a minute ago?
Including this program?
This program is #1 on Kaput Parade.
Oh, well, be with us next time, if we're still on the air, to see Boris Makes His Move or The Mice Man Cometh.